Hey Ted,
Good, man.
I'm making a little video if you don't mind.
For the witch?
Just making a video.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think that this is paradise?
This is paradise, my friend. This is heaven on earth. Everyone here is family, man.
Yeah.
You got everything you need. Look at that. You got gods and goddesses running around eating grapes, eating from the vine, feeling divine. Living in line with nature's design, my friend.
I want to quote that. I'm going to put that. I'm writing a little book and I want to put that as one of the quotes at the start.
Do it.
What? You left your earplugs and goggles down to the 330 swim?
Yep.
Thanks,
Oh.
dude.
Yeah, we got the big hitters, we got the big fish, we got all the big names here at the festival.
You're the big name.
That's the big name, bro. Arnstein's the big name.
Arnstein's the big name. Excellent. Hello, this is Ronnie. I'm here today with a special guest for this channel and for all the people coming to the Fruit Festival who are going to see this as well. This is Ted Carr, and if you don't know Ted, he is many things, but obviously he's a fruitarian. He has been following a raw vegan and fruitarian diet for, I believe, over 5 years, but I'm not sure exactly how long, but we'll maybe go into that. He also is an athlete and trains in triathlon, and he has a YouTube channel and has a lot of followers online. And Ted, is there anything else you'd like to say to introduce yourself a little bit?
I'd like to say hello, guys, and Ronnie, thank you for having me here. And I think, the reason you're even inviting me to this festival, the reason you're inviting me on this call, is because I have such a passion. My life is dedicated to promoting the fruits and vegetables, the coconuts, the fresh, raw, living foods. That's really what I've dedicated my life to now. So that's why I'm here, to help everyone else get the message, really get the memo. Fruits and vegetables are where it's at.
I think people will see you, Ted, where you are now, and you share a lot online about where you are as a person, as a fruitarian, as an athlete, and they might think, I could never be that, or I could never get there. So what was your story? Were you always an athlete? Were you always vegan, raw vegan, or how did things go for you?
My story started where a lot of people's story starts, and that is in disbelief. Like, you see someone doing something that you think is like fantastic, you think is great, and you think, oh, well, that's them, but I could never do that. No way. Nor would I even want to do that. I remember first hearing about Ironman triathlon. And that can take some people 12 hours to complete a full Ironman. And I remember the first emotion I felt, and I didn't know why I felt it, but I felt anger. I was like, why do people do that? Like, that's such a waste of time, and it's so stupid. Why do they do these Ironmans? Like, that's just like a big cry for attention, They're just like, look at me, I can do these big, long events. But then, I got inspired, and I was like, whoa, people actually do that. That's just crazy. But if they can do it, I probably could too. So let's just see what I'm made of. And so I spent a couple of years training for it and went ahead and did an Ironman. And that was in my early years of veganism or raw veganism. I actually did that entire race, Ironman, on just dates and coconut water. So just 100% raw vegan.
Wow.
And I got it done. And to me, I was so ignorant back then. And I guess ignorance is bliss. I didn't know what I was in for. And I just went for it and made it happen. But I've always had a lot of role models and mentors in my life. Maybe not necessarily in person, not face to face. I definitely wish I had more of those. I plan on getting more of those. But online, just watching people on YouTube, over and over and over and over and over again. And I just wanted to live their life so bad. I thought these people were so cool. The Tim Van Ordens, the Michael Arnsteins, the Durian Riders, the Ann Osborns. These people were my idols. Dan McDonald. They were doing something that was so inspirational for me. They were living on just raw foods, like foods that I could go outside my door right now and eat in nature. They're just simple, basic, the best. And I was like, wow, they're actually living on it. They're not eating and living on any other food, and they look really healthy. They look really great. I really wish I could do that, but I'm having such a hard time getting off this other stuff. I just can't seem to get off it. And then herein lies where I seem to differ from a lot of the other YouTubers. A lot of vegan YouTubers out there pushing the potatoes and the rice, all the high carb cook stuff, and I just can't go down that path. I can't condone that because for me, I was just so hooked on it. I became so dependent on it. I couldn't get off it. And then when I found the fruit path, I felt so much better on fruit. I felt so much better on fruit every time I ate it. I kept finding myself going back to the cooked, and I was like, why am I going back to the cooked? I don't want it. I don't like it. It doesn't make me feel good on it. But I had to have it. I was like drawn to it in the same way I was drawn to my marijuana and my nicotine in college. So I just lumped cooked food in the same category as these other drugs I had to try and get off. And once I started treating the cooked vegan food like a drug, that's when I was able to accept the fact that I was addicted to it. I was able to get off it, get help, and I've been fully raw now for going on over 7 years. And there's definitely no looking back. Raw food for me is where it's at, and that's what I promote. 100% raw vegan. Definitely dogmatic about it because I believe it is the optimal way to live and optimal way to eat. If you want.
Yeah, I mean that's something that I've said to a few people, and I've been telling people that are coming to the food festival and stuff that in the last few years there's been a number of people who were on a raw vegan diet or were involved in a raw vegan diet or whatever, a raw vegan lifestyle, and people have went back to cooked food or have started to incorporate cooked food again or experiment with it or whatever. And I've always continued with raw. I've always wanted to continue to improve what I'm doing, and I've always admired the fact that you were one of the people that you just kept going in your direction. There was a tidal shift to another direction, but you just kept going. So you've already explained really that you just you think it's the best. Tell us some of the benefits you got when you started to go on a raw vegan diet.
My mood is so stable. And I think mood has a lot to do with your energy levels. If your energy is down, your mood's going to be a bit off.
Yeah.
How cranky do we get when we're undercarbed or when we're underslept?
Yeah.
Those are the easiest times for our mood to fluctuate. So with the fruit diet, especially with the grazing, the type of eating I do, I graze throughout the day. I can do meals, but I prefer to graze. When I graze, my energy level is very, very level, and I get very deep sleeps at night, and I wake up and I'm just good to go all day long. So my energy level is great, and as a result, my mood is always great. Can't really get under my skin. I'm just too positive. Like I just always seem to see the benefit in something, and I very much credit fruit for that. I very much credit fruit because this was not like me when I was vegan. Even when I was vegan, I was getting frustrated and angry and upset at many little small petty things. But the fruit for me, the biggest benefit by far is the mood. My mood is just amazing, and I do believe emotions dictate your life experience. So if you want to have a great life experience, your emotions better be on point. Your emotions better be nice and high. If you want to have a happy life, you have to experience happiness. And it's very easy for me to experience happiness on a fruit diet. It was very easy for me to experience the opposite of happiness when I was eating the opposite of a fruit diet.
How did you feel when you saw people that were maybe, when you see people who are YouTubers and everything and inspiring people and they're moving back to cooked food? How does that does that bother you at all, or are you frustrated by seeing people do that?
No. I totally have empathy for them. I know what they're going through, both socially and both internally, because I've spoken with them. I've spoken with a lot of them, the majority of them behind the scenes, and I'm not going to say names, but let's just say they wish they were still on raw. They wish they could still make the fruit diet happen, but for some reason they seem to lost hope in it or something, or they failed to see the reason why they started in the first place. But I really think a lot of them are going to come full circle again and realize, wow, this is why I started the fruit diet in the first place. I'm definitely going to get back on it. But definitely, man, I can see the analytics behind it. If you just type in veganism search trends,
yes,
10,000 people are searching veganism every single day. And you type in fruitarian search terms, you maybe get 100 search queries a day. Type in raw veganism, you maybe get 200 search queries a day. So it's either you get 10,000 searches to your videos or you get 200.
Yeah.
And if your income depends on you, either pushing veganism or raw veganism, and your traffic's going to come from one of those two, you're obviously going to push the one that's getting a lot more traffic. And again, you talk to these people behind the scenes, they'll tell you exactly this. The analytics support them, and it's easy to justify something when your income starts depending on it. It's easy to say I'm helping more people, or at least I'm getting them onto veganism. So that's the way they can justify it, especially financially, in an objective sense with true numbers. And meanwhile, here I am, and the numbers aren't on my side, but the feelings are. the feelings are. The raw truth is on my side. For me, that's why I stick to it, because I can't lie to myself. I can't be a walking, talking contradiction and say always do what's best, except when it comes to doing what feels best. Like, I have to do what makes me feel best, and what makes me feel best is eating a fully raw diet. But if other people can find a way, I'm sure we can. If we can send men to Mars, if we can send men to the moon, whatever. Like, we're trying to send men to Mars right now. We've already sent men to the moon. If you don't believe in the conspiracies against that, but if you believe that humans can do whatever we set in mind to, I think there is a way of feeling good on cooked veganism. Definitely, there's a lot of people who can feel fantastic on cooked veganism. It's just for the people who've experienced raw for a long period of time, especially myself. I can really only speak for myself. There really is no going back, because you just know, like, this. Here's the light and life, and here's like destruction. So. I understand why they're doing it, and I think if they can make it happen morally and ethically within themselves, then that's interesting, because I definitely can't. So
yeah,
good for them.
You've been criticised sometimes for talking about cooked food being addictive, which is something often talked about in raw food circles, I guess. What's your perspective on that?
Nicotine, the success rate for people coming off nicotine is about 20%. So if you take like 100 hardcore smokers,
yeah,
and you give them all the equally good chance of getting off the nicotine, and they all really want to get off the nicotine, about only 20% of them are actually going to do it. 80% are going to stick to the nicotine.
Right.
The same number stands true for meth.
Right.
100 people addicted on meth. You give them all 100 a chance. 80% of them are going to stay on the meth. Only 20% actually going to come off it.
Right.
With cooked food, I believe that number's a lot less. I truly do. I really do. Yeah. And the earlier in life that you start a substance, the earlier in life you become dependent on a substance, the harder it is to get off it.
Right.
And I went to the farmer's market yesterday. I see these like 8-month-old babies less than a year old. They're already being fed crackers and things like that, you know? And these crackers, man, they, especially when the baby becomes emotional, it's crying, blah, 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 and the mommy feeds it a cracker, boom, they become emotionally dependent on these foods. But the same isn't true for fruit, man. Like, you don't become dependent on fruit. So, and you just feel so much better on fruit. And you don't obsess over fruit, you know? It's very easy to obsess over certain cooked food. Just think about the only way to get out of your head is to go and eat it. So I definitely, like I said at the beginning, I lump cooked food in the same category as marijuana and nicotine for me. I've been addicted to all three. I'm a personal expert in my own experience. So I can say without a shadow of a doubt that for me, getting off nicotine was easier than getting off cooked food. Getting off marijuana, as hard as that was and as long as that took me to get off it, as many sleepless nights as I had on marijuana, I mean, trying to get off marijuana, I had a much harder time, and it lasted so much longer trying to get off cooked food. So I really can say that, you know, for the rest of my life, I'm going to be a recovering cooked food addict for sure. And I'm happy to help anyone else who wants to come off it, because I definitely know a few practical tips to overcome that addiction.
So talk about your transition. How long did you go raw overnight? Was it did you gradually give things up, or how did it work for you?
I thought I went raw overnight. Like, I still think a lot of raw vegans. I get people messaging me on Snapchat right now. They say, "Hey Ted, I'm doing the raw vegan diet. I've been doing it for 7 months, but I still eat some cooked food." Blah 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 blah. It's like these people, like, they're saying they're doing raw vegan, and then they're openly admitting that they're eating cooked food. But me, when I went raw, I thought I was doing raw. Meanwhile, I was like consuming all these nuts and seeds that definitely weren't raw, even though they were labeled raw. I was definitely eating a lot of Lara bars, which were labeled like raw, but definitely not raw. So yeah, I thought I was raw. I thought I did it overnight, but I was still slipping up on the obviously cooked foods, like on the. I don't want to get specific and say what cooked foods I was eating anymore. I don't want to give too much focus on certain cooked foods, because I think just by saying a food's name, like if I say mango or papaya, you're going to visualize these things. And it's going to make you want to go and consume those. So if I give credit to any particular cooked food, it's just going to make people visualize it and go and consume it. So I want to help people. I'm just going to talk about the good stuff. But in general, yeah, I would slip up on the obvious cooked foods. And I didn't want to, Ronnie. I didn't want to eat these foods. But I found myself, I'd wait till my parents would go out, wait till nobody's home. Okay, go cook up a big pot of this and just pour a bunch of crap on it, put some salt on it. And I'd be in a food coma on the ground in a lot of pain. Like, and there'd still be stuff in the stove. I just obviously cooked way too much, because I'm going to do myself in on this one. I'm going to have a good time tonight. Laying on the food, just laying on the ground in a food coma. And then I found myself getting up like 20, 30 minutes later after waking up from like a little nap I fell into and say, oh, what's leftover? And just go scooping out the little leftovers. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like, I'm just hooked. And I found, like, I remember like sitting on the couch or sitting on the toilet after and just thinking like, I need help. Like, this is not normal. This is not normal. And it's like, I can't be the only one experiencing this. I can't be the only addict out there. But I was just like, man, I got to overcome this. And so that I can help other people. So, Ronnie, my transition was definitely gradual. I tried to do it overnight, but I definitely did not. I have many, many slip-ups. And it was not an enjoyable time.
How long do you think it Sorry.
I'd say it took me about 1.5 to 2 years to finally be totally clear.
Yeah.
To be totally clear. So when I say I've been raw for 7 years, that does not mean 100%. That means like for the first couple of years, I was like 99% most of the time. Every now and then I'd have a massive cooked meal. Maybe like a couple days later, another massive meal. Just go through a little phase. But every now and then some slip-ups here and there. And I got to say, still to this day, even though I may eat 100% raw, I still have some pasteurized juice from time to time. And maybe I'll have some dates. I'll have some dates. Like in Thailand, there's some dates, like dried dates, pitted dates. And apparently some people say they're cooked or something. But to me, there's no addictive factor to them. There's no addictive factor.
That's something that what you just said there is something exactly how I feel about it, which is the addictive part of it is the thing to me that's the thing that's the problem. And with as you're saying, with pasteurized juice, with dried fruit or whatever, they don't have that same pull. Like if you have mangoes or pasteurized juice, you're going to go for the fresh fruit. But with cooked food, there is a greater pull. I don't know what that is. I don't know how. And you know that it's not really the flavour because you know there's not a great deal of flavour there. Right? It's kind of so confusing. It's something in your mind, So what was the first thing, like going back to you were kind of following maybe something like a junk food lifestyle, but what was it? A certain book? Was there a person you met? Was there an interview you saw? A video?
Yeah. There's a triathlete actually. When I got into triathlons, how I really got into nutrition. It's how I really started caring about nutrition because I was like, I got to really improve my diet so I can perform a bit better. But at the same time, I was also trying to get rid of my acne. I really want to get rid of my acne. So I guess the initial trigger to answer your question was I want to get rid of my acne. And then my acne was getting a lot better, like pretty rapidly. As soon as I got rid of dairy, as soon as I got rid of gluten, it started clearing up. As soon as I got rid of eggs and meat and all that stuff, it cleared up quite quickly. But I still knew that there was some things I could do with my diet to improve it. So to improve my performance. So I started consuming Vega. Vega is like this vegan protein powder with like a whole food meal replacement. And on the label, it had a little sticker of Brendan Brazier, the formulator. He's a triathlete, or was a former professional triathlete from Canada here, in my city, Vancouver. I was like, wow, this guy does Ironman, and he's vegan. I'm going to get his book, because I don't know much about this thing, but it sounds pretty cool. So I got his book, and in the book, he's like, I recommend, he's like, it's ideal, it's definitely optimal, it's definitely ideal to do 100% raw, but to be practical, I recommend doing 80% raw. So in my head, 80%, scrap that. I want to be 100% optimal. Let's do that. So I pretty much closed the book right then and there. I'm not going to read the rest of this. He's not even promoting 100% raw, even though he says 100% raw is best. So I closed his book, got another one. I think I ordered some on Amazon, and one of them was called The Live Food Factor. That one's fantastic. It's like a big, thick one like that, big green book. Highly recommend it. Live Food Factor. And it just went through all these studies, and it was like they've done testing on the difference between cooked food and raw food on like cats and dogs and rats, and the difference is just staggering. And at the beginning of the book, there's all these testimonials of all these people who've gone raw and their life has completely changed. And just hearing testimonials and seeing like the black and white differences between cooked rats and cooked cats and raw cats, I was just like, dude, raw is obviously law. Like raw is just law. And then I got into Nature's First Law. That book is amazing. And then I got into Ann Osborne's book, Path to Paradise. The book is fantastic. That book's like a little book of poems, man. I love that book. Very well written. And very well packaged. So I think those are like the 4 key influencing books. One of them was Brendan Brazier's Thrive book, which just got me in the door. Then The Live Food Factor, Nature's First Law, and Ann Osborne's Path to Paradise. And I really haven't read that many books since. I haven't needed to. Like those books just launched me into the sophosphere, and here I am in orbit now, just cruising, and trying to give back as much as I can. But I think people need that pretty big push of information and inspiration, get them out the door, get them into orbit, and then they're just floating.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what we want, really, is more people to get to that point where as you're saying, you're cruising on it, you're not struggling anymore. And I know for me, there was giving up cooked food was a kind of a huge mental, emotional battle in a whole number of ways. Really, it is quite a battle. But I know that you. Obviously, you went to the Woodstock festivals. I don't know if you were at any other events in Canada prior to that, but what made you go along to Woodstock and meet other people? And
Were you? I don't think. Were you there at the first one or no? The second one
no,
maybe.
I was at the second one.
Yeah. Okay. So the first one was probably like the most one of the most memorable times of my life. Like I got to see all of my heroes under one roof. I got to see Durianrod, I got to see Freely, I got to see Mike Arnstein, I got to see Doug Graham, I got to see Tim Van Orton, like these people in the flesh. I remember showing up super late, and there's a panel of speakers, Fully Christina, everyone's there, and I was just like, whoa, like my heart's just beating. I'm like, these people are real, like amazing. These people are real. Like I've only seen them on YouTube before, and I've watched hundreds of hours of them, and I just felt like I was on the winning team. Like I was here, man. I made it. Woodstock. I'm on the winning team, and more than that, it was like family.
Yeah.
It really was like family. And every Woodstock I've left, I've cried. Like the final day, on day 7, everyone's time to go. I cry, man, because it's like I'm leaving my actual family behind. It's like my brothers, my sisters, my moms, my dads, my aunts, my uncles, my children. All the kids younger than me, I feel like my children. So, the reason it got me to go to Woodstock was just because all my heroes were there. There's no way I was missing that. Absolutely no way. And I remember when Mike first announced it, it was totally like, it was hard to believe. I was like, I'm going to believe it when I see it. So that was before my first Ironman. Actually, as soon as I left that Woodstock, I took the plane, I went to the Ironman and did the race. And yeah, so that was pretty cool, man. That was an amazing time in my life. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, I mean, that was the first one I went. Well, I went to the second year, and it's always been a totally special thing, And I feel exactly the same as you're saying. The family feeling of it, the friendships, really special friendships, and I think that the Woodstock nearly finished last year, and
yeah,
I really think that 10 years time, 15 years time, people will look back and. Like you're saying, imagining all those people together again is it's just really unlikely to ever happen again, I guess. But
No.
it was amazing, like just a few hundred people or whatever, and all these kind of amazing, inspiring people in the same place. Yeah. So, do you think that had to going to an event, connecting with other people, was that an important thing for you? And did it inspire you to go further with it, or become a leader yourself, as you have done?
What it gave me, it just gave me a knowingness that I really love, and I'd say go as far as saying need. I need to be around like minds. Like as much as I'm talking to you on Skype right here, we all have like a vibration that we give off physically, like when we're near someone. If I put my hand like near your shoulder, you can like feel like the magnetism like going back and forth here without even touching you. Like there's electrical force around other people physically. But because you're like in Scotland right now, and I'm in Canada, like as much as I can see you, my mind thinks maybe your eyes aren't in front of me, but my body can tell the difference. And so when I'm at the Woodstock, I'm around like 500 other like minds, bodies, and just the vibe that their bodies are giving off, my body's picking that up, and it's like. My calorie intake drops by like 1,000 calories a day. Like I only need to consume maybe like 2,000 calories a day when I'm at Woodstock, because my solar plexus is just full. Like this is just full. It's full. It's full of everyone's love, and it fills up from the eye contact and the conversations I have with people. I just feel so good there, so light. So that taught me something very powerful. Like I don't need to eat as much when I'm around other people. I feel like I wouldn't want to be anywhere else in the world when I'm around other people having a great conversation. I feel like it's the most important place to be. I feel like it's right where I'm supposed to be. It feels like I'm really activating and living my life purpose when I'm around other like minds. And I really want to get something going where it's just like we have these year-round, you can call them festivals if you like, but just year-round communities all around the world. You could have one in, sure, California, you could have one in Hawaii, you could have one in England somewhere, you could have one, whoever, Canada, it doesn't matter, just have year-round festivals, all over, communities year-round. So you can basically, or you could festival hop, 1 month per place around the world, and you just go from one festival to the next. Have 12 festivals in the year, and just every year spend a month at a different festival. That'd be amazing. Just something. But it just gave me the experience of needing to be around other people, for sure.
Did it give you a vision of how it, like you're saying about the festival hopping idea, and did it create a vision for you of the future, of how you wanted life to be, of how life could be different in some ways?
Well, before that festival, I think was always fascinated with the documentary of Woodstock from like 1960s, I think it was. Watched the documentary a few times, and I just love all these people coming together for the purpose of having a good time.
Absolutely.
That's why they're there. Just come together for the purpose of having a good time together. And so, Woodstock just gave me the vision that, holy crap, like, it's reality. And I wrote down in my mind movie, like, I live around a bunch of fraternities. Like, I live in a like-minded community. And I get to Woodstock, and it's like, whoa, it's reality. But in my vision board, my mind movie, I didn't write down, like, I spend 365 days a year with 500 like minds, I just wrote I live with. I didn't say for how long. So next time I'll specify. But, it gave me evidence that it's definitely possible, and it feels damn good. It really does. I think festivals are a must for anyone who wants to experience the magic of life. You're never going to experience more synchronicities than you will when you're at these festivals with a bunch of like minds and you're feeling really good.
Well, I'm really happy that you've agreed to come to the UK festival, and if people don't know that Ted's coming, then you found out now. But I know that you wouldn't have been able to come, but you've kind of had a break in your schedule.
Yeah.
Great.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm stoked, man. It's totally fluky. If you had asked me a week before, I would have said no, sorry. And if you'd asked me a week later, I would have said no, I already got plans. So, yeah, like, you asked me at the perfect time, man. It's amazing how this worked out.
It's kind of funny because I was late to ask you as well. I was meant to ask you before I did, I think, and I was just...
You thought you were meant to ask me before, but you actually meant to ask me when you did.
Yeah. What about? I know that you're very into kind of personal development, a positive mindset, and you were talking about mind movies and things like that. What got you into that? Who's your inspiration in that, and how does that help you?
I would say that I could list off like a dozen top people who have really inspired me for personal development, but just a few that come to the top of my mind right now. One of them would be Abraham Hicks. Listening to Abraham Hicks, Esther and Jerry, they are just amazing. There's so many good audios of them on YouTube, videos of them on YouTube. Definitely recommend checking out Abraham Hicks. Another one is Bashar, Bashar. I love listening to Bashar. A lot of what I say on my YouTube is really a combination of Abraham and Bashar, and people tell me, like, oh, Ted, you're so wise. And I'm like, I've just been raised by Abraham and Bashar. Like, I have no choice but to re-spew what they've put in my head, just in my own words. But I don't make this stuff up. It comes from them, and I experience it, so I experience it so strongly that I have to say it out on camera again. So Abraham and Bashar really made me who I am today. And then some other great personal development thought leaders, I should say, would be Bob Proctor. Bob Proctor is been a massive help for me. Darren Hardy for sure. And Brian Tracy, of course, Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn's been fantastic. So Anthony Robbins, how can you go without saying Anthony Robbins? These people, they all have their own style, and I can't say that I absolutely love any of them more than I love taking all of them and creating my own content with them. It's very interesting. Like, whenever I hear them speak, it's like, wow, what they're saying is like so on point, and I know I could make it even better. So there's something in me that, like, when I hear what they say, it's like, that's fantastic. Now let's make it better. So but whenever I try and make it better, I'm never quite satisfied with however I put it out there. I was like, oh, that could be way better. But so I've just decided to listen to a whole bunch of them because thoughts become things, and if you're listening to really successful people, then you're really listening to successful thoughts. So if you can make those thoughts your own, then you're going to become success as well.
What's your daily rituals with that? Do you have any particular things you do every day?
Yeah, definitely. I meditate every day. I try to wake up early every day so I can get an extra head start on the day to meditate. Um, Other thing, I used to go for audiobook walks every day. I think what got me to where I am now is not necessarily what I do now. Like I used to not meditate. I only started meditating a few months ago, maybe 6 months ago. But now that's like 100% first year thing. It's like next level for me. But what got me to where I am today is rewatching these mind movies that I created over and over and over again. Another thing that got me to where I am today is audiobook walks. Going for these long audiobook walks, listening to the same audiobook walk on repeat. Like it's like a 45-minute or an hour audiobook walk. I'll listen to it like 3 times in 3 hours. Just over and over and over again. And another thing that got me to where I am is rewriting down my goals, writing them and rewriting them, writing them and rewriting them, just getting clear on them, man. Those 3 things. So being clear on what I want, listening to audiobooks, and just watching my mind movies, like watching what I want over and over and over again, and taking a lot of notes. Because at one point this was all new to me, and learning about the mind, the law of attraction. A lot of people don't even know the difference between conscious and subconscious mind. They really don't know. So at the UK Fruit Festival, I plan on explaining to everyone the difference between the conscious and subconscious mind, how you can really utilize your subconscious mind for the good that you desire, and how to get in vibrational alignment with what you want so you can start experiencing more. It was just a big learning curve, going from knowing nothing about personal development to knowing like as much as I know now. There's a lot. Now what it comes down to is, Ronnie, how easy is it to go into the library and think like, oh, I want this book, that book, this book, that book, this book, and that book. I mean, you get home and you're like, okay, like I'll read those next week. I'll read those next week. I'll read those next week. Oh, I want that book, I want that book, I want that book. Oh, but I'll read them next week. Like you never actually get to the books. And I found if you just take one book, any book, and you just make it your Bible, you'll go places. It'll take you places. Take any personal self-development book and actually do what it says, which is like very hard to do because we're so conditioned by our habits. About 95% of what we do every day, Ronnie, is by habit. We just slip into habit. So even me Skyping you right now is a habit. I can Skype someone, sure, let's do it. Instead of like, writing an ebook or something, which is not a habit for me. But some people it is a habit. They keep writing ebooks over and over and over again. So success becomes a habit. So I'm very good at Skyping people because it's a habit. I'm very bad at replying to emails because that's not a habit for me. Some people are very good at that. So anyways, the point is, the biggest thing I've learned, I guess, since getting into personal development is that you actually taking advice is very easy, but applying that advice, actually doing that advice is a different thing. It's quite hard because we're just so chained to our habits.
There's a lot of people who are trying to change to a raw vegan diet, and they will say that it would be much easier if they were in a tropical location or something like that, or they were in Thailand or whatever. You've done a raw vegan diet in Canada and in Thailand and another few places. What do you think are the benefits or the pros and cons of Canada versus Thailand?
Yeah, well, I've been in Thailand now. I was there for 2 years, and about 2 years, and I'd say 99% of the vegans I met there who came over and thought they'd be raw once they got to Thailand immediately went back to cooked. Because your addiction doesn't disappear in the airplane, You don't get stuff in the airplane and as you're like 5,000 feet in the air, it's gone. Like, you still have that. So living in a tropical climate doesn't mean you're going to eat raw at all. What determines whether you're going to eat raw or not is really what you're feeding your mind and your brain. So if you're still watching a bunch of YouTube videos of people eating cooked food or talking to a bunch of cooked food people and talking about food or just hanging around them, watching them eat the food, you're going to eat the same food. We're social beings. I don't really hang around anyone when it comes to food that's eating cooked food. Like I'm just always hanging around raw people. I've got a big meetup tomorrow. It's going to be like 30 raw people going to be there. Everyone's eating raw. So the big difference going to Thailand and Canada is not the fact that it's easier to eat raw there. It's not. You maybe will save some money, but you got to stay there long enough to make it worth the plane trip. Because a plane trip, round trip, could be like $1,500, and $1,500 goes a long way on food, even if you're in an expensive country. So it's only really worth saving money on Thailand if you're going to stay there for like over a year. Now, so the benefit could be cheaper food if you're there for over a year, a cheaper accommodation if you're there for over a year. Definitely Chiang Mai for the like-minded vegan community. But again, don't rely on these people for diet support. Just rely on them for fitness support. You can get really fit if you go to Chiang Mai and train with these people. But you got to do your own thing when it comes to diet if you want to stay raw. So the other benefit, I guess, is the sunlight. Like it's it's easier for me not to knock Canada so much, like not to talk crap about Canada, because I'm only here in the summer now. I can't imagine being here in the winter. I'd probably be wearing something like you're wearing right now, or I'd probably be like right in front of that thing all the time. Which it's summer now, but I'm still in front of that fire. Like I need the heat, man. So that's definitely a major perk of Thailand. Is it gets so sunny and stays sunny like almost every day of the year that you take it for granted. It's just obviously sunny. But here in Canada, if it's sunny, it's like, oh my God, everyone get outside, quick, like sun's out. So that's a big thing right there.
But what about the produce? Do you think the fruit? What was the comparison between fruit in Canada and fruit in Thailand?
That's is
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
so good. The difference is that it's just different variety of food. So different variety and way more abundant in Thailand. So whereas here in Canada we have all the cold climate foods, you know, the cherries and the blueberries and the apples, you know. In Thailand they have like the dragon fruits and the durian and the jackfruit and the, you know, pineapples, things like that. They're all local. Now, all fruit is the best fruit ever if it's grown properly.
Yeah.
So I can get on my hands and knees here in Canada and almost want to cry when I'm eating the tomatoes and blueberries because they are just so good. It's not fair that I get to eat them. They're just too good. Like it just instantly connects me to the source. I'm like, amazing. My life is complete. I could die now and be happy. That's how good these things are. And I'm in Canada, the cold climate, the place that's supposedly supposed to be bad for food. How come I'm so grateful for having this amazing food? Because it's grown properly and it's in season and it's local. And the same in Thailand. I can have apples in Thailand that are grown in Canada, but they suck because they're like a year old, they're not fresh, they're imported. But the local stuff out in Thailand can be equally amazing. The durian, the pineapples, you know, the jackfruit, anything in Thailand that's good is good. The mangoes. But I gotta say, on a whole, I'd say that the highest quality food I've ever had has been in Hawaii. I've been traveling to all the places in the world. I've been to Costa Rica, I've been to Panama, I've been to Thailand, I've been to Laos, I've been to Malaysia, Canada, California, Vegas, everywhere. Not everywhere, but a lot of places. And the highest quality food on a whole was Hawaii. Now, I was only there for a few weeks, so maybe it's just a certain season, but they had the weather, they had the high quality food, they had lots of raw vegans there. So that was a really cool place. It was just more expensive than Thailand, that's for sure. So if you're looking for quality food, maybe you want to check out Hawaii. The papayas were out of this world, man.
You touched on something there that I want to go back to because there's a lot of people that get into the fruitarianism and raw veganism and get very passionate about fruit. And a lot of people would think that's a bit weird or a bit crazy, but a lot of people who've got into the fruit thing, they've had experiences with eating fruit that are almost like spiritual experiences. They're almost like really quite profound experiences. Can you talk about that kind of thing that's happened to you and some of your best experiences with fruit?
So just to give you a little background on what I've experienced, I've taken psychedelic mushrooms, I've taken acid, I've taken MDMA, ecstasy, lots of marijuana. So I've had experiences with the psychedelics that have definitely connected me to the divine and allowed me to experience, I don't want to say that, I'll say it, enlightenment. It just allowed me to experience that oneness where I am the universe and I am connected with everyone and everything. And not just connected, but I am everyone and everything. It's hard to put into words unless you've experienced it. And I've experienced that on LSD a few times. And I'm not saying that you need to take drugs to experience that, because on a fruit diet I've also experienced that. This is the amazing thing that not many people have experienced, because I guess maybe they're not clean enough or they're not eating high enough quality fruit or a combination of the two. But I think if you're really clean and you're eating really high quality food, you can definitely have spiritual experiences that are pretty much the exact same as when you're on mushrooms or when you're on LSD. Like the clouds will literally part as your heart like feels like, oh my God, like the clouds will part, the sun pours through, you're in disbelief, like you just feel like shaky all over, you're just like, oh my God, like something's happening here, like something's happening here, like I am everything, and you're just like blown away, your mind is blown, there's no ego, it's just like total connectedness. And that's happened to me with a mango in Hawaii, it's happened to me with a fig in Victoria on Vancouver Island here in Canada, and it's happened to me with a durian at the Woodstock Fruit Festival, at the second Woodstock Fruit Festival with Tony Wright. So those are the three most memorable experiences where just like everything fades away, and it's just me and the divine. And if every time you had one of those foods and it gave you that experience, everyone would be fruitarian, or at least those foods would be considered drugs. Those foods would be lumped in the same category as mushrooms and LSD. Those foods would be considered like, okay, if you eat those foods, you're considered a drug addict. Like just a weird category, but they're not. Like the only way to experience that experience, I think, on fruit is to be really clean and be in a really good state and be eating like 10 out of 10 fruits, which is very hard to find, but definitely growable. We can all grow 10 out of 10 fruits if we put our mind to it and want to grow that stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, that's my experience with the spiritual experiences with fruit. And I gotta say, before I was fruitarian, I didn't believe any of this stuff. This was hocus pocus. This was spiritual woo-woo BS. I thought when you die, you just turn off like a battery, like you're just dead. You're just not there. But now I realize we're immortal. When death is an illusion. Our soul's always carrying on. We exist, and in some form, we always will exist. And I gotta credit fruitarianism for teaching me that for sure.
It's an important thing to point out that you really you don't. Well, you probably use the different phrases, but you really identify as fruitarian. So what do you define as fruitarian, and what might be the difference between that and a regular raw vegan?
That's an interesting one, Ronnie, because like I said earlier, there's people who are calling themselves raw vegans and they're eating a bunch of cooked food. And before, I'd be like, don't call yourself a raw vegan, how dare you? You know, like you're still eating cooked food. But now I'm like, that's great, use that label, use that term. Promote it. It's like people wear fake Nike t-shirts. It's not really Nike, but it's the same logo. It says Nike on it, but Nike didn't make it. It's just a fake. But at least Nike's happy. Hey, they're promoting Nike. Awesome. Now people are going to actually go and buy real Nike because they see the advertising. And same with veganism. There's a lot of people who say, oh, I'm vegan, but I still eat fish. Or I'm vegan, but I still have chicken sometimes. And there's a lot of vegans that'll pounce on them and say, don't you dare call yourself vegan. How dare you? You're killing animals, blah, blah. And it's like, man, let them wear the label. Let them get the word out there. Because if there's one quote-unquote fake vegan, there could be like 20 or 30 real vegans that get converted because of that fake vegan. There's a lot of celebrities out there who used to be vegan. And so for example, I don't know who used to be a vegan. I don't know if Brad Pitt's still a vegan, but let's say he's not anymore. At one point he was vegan. Everyone takes these pictures and these quotes from Brad Pitt being vegan. They start sharing them still in like 2020, 2030 years from now. And people are going to be like, oh, Brad Pitt's not even vegan anymore, blah, 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 blah. But if I was a vegan, I wouldn't say that because let Brad Pitt pretend to be a vegan. Because only reason I personally wanted to be vegan so badly was because I saw all these celebrities that were vegan. I'm like, wow, like all these vegans are celebrities. If it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me. So the reason I bring this up is because the terminology we use, I think we can put it. We should put it on as many people as we can. Like I would love to have a vegan T-shirt and put it on like everyone in the world. If everyone in the world could walk around with a T-shirt that said vegan, wouldn't we all be a bit happier as vegans? Like at least the message is out there. At least everyone at least knows about it now. There's a lot of people who disagree with that, but I think it's because they haven't thought about it long enough. But if we really think about it, we want to get that term across everywhere. So back to your question. With fruitarianism, you can define it however you want. I personally like to define myself as a fruitarian because fruit is really all I eat. If you look at my calorie consumption over the course of a year, you'll see that 99.999% of my calories come from fruit. Sure, every now and then, maybe I'll have a leaf of lettuce or like a little bit of spinach or some arugula, right? But calorie-wise, it's nothing. Maybe I'll even have some hemp seeds or like, maybe like a mushroom or something. Like, who knows, you know? Like a portobello mushroom. Like, I don't anticipate to ever go buy these things, but if they happen to come into my experience and I enjoy having them, I'm going to have them. But still, 99.9% of my calories coming from fruit, raw fruit. And that's why I call myself fruitarian. But I've realized, like I told you before, with like the trends and the analytics, it's much more beneficial for me as a YouTuber, someone on social media, to start using the words raw vegan a lot more, because I get searched in a heck of a lot more. So even though my niche group, even though my videos are about fruitarianism, I'll use a lot more titles like raw veganism nowadays. I'll put in the hashtag raw vegan just because it brings in more traffic. Once people type in raw vegan, they actually find fruitarianism. And Ronnie, I get emails every day, Snapchats every day, Facebook messages every day, comments on YouTube every day saying, wow, I never knew about fruitarianism before I found your channel. So perfect. If one person says it to me every day for the rest of my life, I'm doing my job. I just want people to know about fruitarianism. I want people to know that you can live on just fruit and feel amazing. So that's how I define fruitarian, just someone who gets most of their calories from fruit. But feel free to call yourself a fruitarian if you still eat McDonald's, man. Just get the word out there,
So
please.
let's talk about um, your achievements with athletics. We've not really spoken about that yet, but you were talking about you did an Ironman. What exactly is that? How far is that?
And Ironman, do you know what, kilometers or miles?
Miles.
Miles. Yeah, oh man,
Just
I don't know miles.
just
Sorry,
kilometers.
but
So,
it's 3.8 kilometers swimming, followed by 180 kilometers of
wow.
biking, followed by a marathon, just 42
Wow.
kilometers of running. So that may not mean something. That may not mean a lot. That may not mean anything to a lot of people watching, listening. But let's just say that takes the average person about 14 to 15 hours of non-stop cardio with your heart rate up above 120, 130. So go on the elliptical, go on the stationary bike, go on the treadmill next time, get your heart rate up to 130, and just think about holding that for 15 hours.
Wow.
Non-stop. It burns a lot of calories. You burn way more calories than you consume. You get to the finish line, you're absolutely dead. You see a squirrel crossing the road, you might burst out crying. You see like you feel the breeze of the wind across your hair, you might start crying. Like you're just depleted. You know what you're saying? You're drunk on depletion. It's pretty crazy. So I've done Ironman. I've done many half Ironmans. I've done plenty of sprints and Olympic distance triathlons, swimming, biking, running. Done some duathlons. But my real passion, Ronnie, is running. I absolutely love running. And I'm only now realizing that now that I'm injured. I got injured twice in Thailand with my thumb. I broke my thumb, same thumb twice within about 8-week period. So I wasn't able to swim for a long time. Lost all my swimming gains. Put so much effort into swimming to get pretty good. You put so much effort into swimming, you save a few seconds. That's like massive. Spend a lot of money on coaches, equipment, training, video footage, just to like tweak some party techniques, save some seconds, and then I get injured and this all goes to poof. I put in a 40-hour training week in Thailand. A lot of that was swimming. Easy to spend hours in the pool. And then poof, all that's gone. So swimming went out the window. Also, when you break your thumb, you can't really ride your bike because I couldn't put any pressure on the handlebars. So cycling went out the window. All I was left with was running, which happens to be my favorite. I love running. I can run all day. But I did way too much, way too soon, ran too much, too fast, too soon, ended up hurting my hamstring. Now I wasn't able to swim, bike, or run. All I could do was rest. And then I really started dedicating my time to meditation. And found a lot of benefit from meditation and got a lot more work done on social media. But I'm getting back into running now, slowly but surely. I'm not super passionate about swimming or biking these days, so I might just take the next couple seasons, dedicate to strictly running, see if my motivation and passion goes back for triathlon. But now for the future, I think I'm just going to focus on running for now. I absolutely love it. It doesn't take any willpower for me to run. I can just get out and run. It definitely takes willpower to swim and bike, but no willpower for running.
Would you go into ultra marathons, long distance, or more?
Eventually, I'm too young and I'm too busy right now. I got more important things to do. Like I find myself halfway through these half Ironman races, and I'm like, man, I still got like another couple hours to go in this race. I'd rather be at home working, putting out social media content. Like it just takes up too much time. I have higher priorities now. I put out a video on YouTube. I can reach like 1,000 people in 24 hours. I can't do that with a triathlon. Nobody cares if I do a triathlon, really. So I'd only be doing it for myself. And if I'd rather be helping other people, I might as well just get home and get on social media and start cranking out stuff on the net, so that I can eventually meet these people in real life, face to face, like at these festivals. I wouldn't be coming to this festival, Ronnie, if I didn't do my due diligence on social media. I wouldn't be coming to this event. So I absolutely love seeing people in real life, connecting with like minds, and I can do that a lot deeper and more intimately with raw food than I can with triathlon. So I'm switching my focus, my priorities here, and this wouldn't have happened if I hadn't got injured. So everything definitely does happen for a positive reason.
Yeah, well, just to speak a little tiny bit about the festival, if people are interested in coming, they can go to the website, fruitfest.co.uk, and we'll give a shout out. You've got a discount code for it, so if people are coming, if you want to come and get a 10% discount, Ted's code, I think it's Come Fruit Yourself. Pretty sure it's and that's yourself. So if you want to come to the event and you're coming to see Ted and you want to let us know that, and Ted will get a little kickback for that as well, and everyone's happy. And then use the Come Fruit Yourself code on the website. And the event is 27th to the 31st of July, from Wednesday to Sunday. It's 5 days, 100% raw vegan, just fruits and vegetables, but also not just uh, fruit served in bowls, but there are raw vegan meals at night, salads and raw vegan meals by our trained chef. The other speakers at the event: Doug Graham, Rosalind Graham, Grant Campbell, Chris Kendall, Anne Osborne, Tony Wright, um, a few other people that might turn up or not. Brianna Jackson, a guy called Michael Goodchild, the vegan activist. You may have seen him as well. So a lot of interesting people are coming together. As I've always said, I don't know if it'll ever happen again. It might be the only time, certainly probably the only time this particular lineup will turn up. So
Yeah, I was talking to Tim Sheaf earlier. He said he might stop by for a day or so.
yeah,
Too, so
I
that'd be
didn't want to
pretty
say
cool.
his name there, but yeah, just in case.
Tim, you better come,
Yeah.
man.
So there's it'll be a really fantastic event and a great chance for people to experience what we're talking about and the magic of this lifestyle, the magic of the community and the like-minded people. And it's a rare thing. It's hard to keep these events going. It's hard to keep motivated to do it as well. So it's a really special thing. It's only coming up in a few weeks' time, so get registered as soon as possible. We've got double rooms and rooms for 4 people and some camping as well. So options there for people, and also if you stay in the local area, you can get an off-site ticket as well. So really looking forward to seeing a lot of you there. Go and register fruitfest.co.uk and check that out.
Yeah.
Right, just to get really practical, Ted, what's a day in the life for you? How, if someone wanted to replicate your diet, how you eat, let's go back to how do you buy fruit? How do you store it? Basics.
Yeah. So I like to buy bulk when I can. If I get a choice between buying my food every day
Yeah.
or buying bulk, I ideally would just like to buy bulk and just sit on it and just eat that stuff for the next few days. And I suggest having a few different varieties of food in stock. So I will always, you come to my house, I will always have more than enough. I have friends coming over, they take food, sure, take it. Take some home actually with you. I give people gift bags to go home with. Have some dates, have some bananas, have some orange juice, just here, take some food with you. So that's tip number one. Stock the fruit up. Stock the F up. Stock the fruit up. You got to stock it up. You want to have dried foods at all times, covered foods, apocalyptic foods. In case of an apocalypse, you got your covered foods. Things like dates. You want to have your freezer foods, foods that are good all year long in the freezer, like the blueberries, the frozen berries, the bananas. My fridge right now is absolutely full of bananas. You cannot fit anything else in there, just packed with bananas. The other thing that you want to have is fridge food. So foods like maybe you juice some orange juice, you put that in the fridge, or you have some really ripe bananas that you want to put in the fridge, slow down the ripening, you put that in the fridge. You have some berries like raspberries, something you want to put in there, put that in the fridge. Have fridge food. The other food you want to have is shelf food. Food that's on your shelf, and those divided into 2 categories. You got your unripe stuff, and you got your ripe stuff. The ripe stuff ideally is stuff that's ripe and it's pretty much good for the next 2-3 days, and the unripe stuff is stuff that's going to be good in about 4 or 5 days. So you can always be recycling these things. Whenever you have ripe food, you got to have unripe food. Whenever you have unripe food, you got to have ripe food. And I'd say the staples for me back here in Canada, definitely the avocados, the bananas, the oranges, the grapefruit, and the fresh local stuff like the berries and nectarines and things like that. Whatever is really good and local. Pretty much what I'm eating right now. All that local stuff on top of the oranges and bananas and dates and avocados. Now, that's it, Ronnie. I buy bulk and I stock up and I just keep making sure I got everything in stock. As far as how I go about eating it, I definitely graze. So I'll wake up and I'll have whatever I want, whenever I want. Sometimes I wake up and I'll wake up at 5 o'clock. I'll do work on the computer till 7 a.m. and I'll go for a walk from 7 a.m. until 12 noon without eating. That's 5 hours without eating. I'll come home, I'll make some orange juice, and go back to work. And then go out, have an avocado, go back to work. Get up, have a tomato. Get up, have half a banana or something, make some orange juice. Like I'm just grazing throughout the day, whatever's good.
Excellent.
And dinner, I try and keep nice and light. I definitely don't have big salads anymore, because it just weighed me down too much. It took too much time, and fruit is just as good. Fruit, if you're not enjoying your fruit, find a way to get better fruit and enjoy it, man. It should be just as good to have for dinner as it is
Some
for
people who
breakfast.
just eat fruit struggle with some savoury cravings. What do you feel with that?
I don't know. I can't relate to that because, like, if you're eating the best food ever, you won't want anything else. If you're eating mediocre food, yeah, you're gonna want something else. Just mix it up a bit. But I can't relate to that. I can't, like, if you're eating the best food ever, there's nothing more than you want than just that. But if you want savory, have some tomatoes, have some celery, whatever. If you don't want to do celery because that's not a fruit, then just have more tomatoes. Have some hot peppers, maybe. Tomatoes and hot peppers. Hot peppers are fruit. Cucumbers, whatever. It's a fruit as well. Zucchini. But yeah, if you want, I have a few savory recipes in my clean and simple recipe ebook. So if you go to fruitliving.com/ebook, you can get like over 50 raw vegan recipes there, a few savory recipes there, zucchini noodle pasta, things like that.
Excellent.
So that's what I recommend.
Well, you've given us a lot of time there, Ted. Thanks a lot for giving me the time. It's always a joy to speak to you. I've always enjoyed meeting you and speaking to you. I remember seeing you. A funny story. A couple of days before I went to Woodstock the second time, came across the video of you training, like one of your triathlon videos, probably one of your first big videos, and seeing, or just thinking, oh, here's another guy that I was kind of looking at or looking up to or whatever. Here's another guy that I've never seen before, who's a raw vegan athlete, and literally 2 days later bumped into you at Woodstock. So it was just so funny to see that video and then see you a couple of days later. But I didn't really get to know you. I just kind of said to you, hey, I saw you in that video, and you were kind of surprised that someone had seen it or whatever. But I've always really enjoyed seeing you over the years and getting to know you better, and that's a big reason for bringing you. I think people will see, will get a lot from you, and will learn a lot from you, and I think you'll really add something amazing to the event this year. So really looking forward to the event and to seeing you again. And do you have any final message you want to put out there for people? How do they connect with you if they want to come across your stuff?
If you guys have watched this entire interview to this point, add me on Snapchat at Ted Carr. So my name, TEDCARR, at sign at the front, whatever. At Ted Carr. Add me on Snapchat. Send me a message saying that you watched this entire interview, and I'd be happy to have a conversation with you over Snapchat, over whatever you want. Ask me whatever question you want. And if you guys want me to address any particular YouTube video topic, whatever, go to my Patreon page. You just type in on Google Ted Carr Patreon, pay $1 a month, and then I'll make videos for you, customized just for you. So, yeah, thanks, Ronnie. But if you guys want specific content just for you guys, then head over there, do that. And add me on Snapchat, and we'll have a conversation back and forth, answer all your questions, no problem. So that's it, man. Thanks a lot.
There's so much more we could do another interview another time, but thanks a lot, Ted. Once again, fruitfest.co.uk coming up 27th to the 31st of July. That's 2016, just in case you're watching this video in years to come. Yeah. And years to come, you might look back and think, man, I wish I could have made that event. But make sure you come this year. This is the time to come. A lot of people will get in touch and they'll say, I'll come next year. But they don't realise that there's no assurance that I'm going to put it on, or that someone's going to put on an event next year. You never know. Depends what will happen. You don't know if people will be available. So this is the year to come. This is the biggest year so far. We've already
come fruit yourself.
Absolutely, and look forward to seeing a lot of you there and having a really successful event. Thanks for your time, Ted.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Subscribe to this channel. Go to tedsfruitliving.com. Subscribe to his stuff. Fruitliving on Fruitarian on Snapchat, or Fruit.
Ted Carr on Snapchat. Fruitarian on Instagram.
Thank you, Ted. See you soon.
Peace, man. Adios.